In the center of this course of development in the first years of growth of a child, we find the affective process. A child is curious to learn and to experience the world around him. This happens when the child feels emotionally safe thanks to the care and affection that is given by the caregiver. Conversely, when a child feels insecure, when he lives in a hostile environment, when he is poorly cared for, the child withdraws and his ability to explore the universe around him is reduced. The stress that begins to grow in the child will influence his future health and behavior. There is a broad understanding now that the brain is a self-organizing system, but there may be less knowledge about the fact that such self-organization of brain development happens within a context, within a relationship with another person. That other person is the primary caregiver who acts as an external psychobiological regulator that affects the growth of the child, but also affects how the child's nervous system develops, since the child in the first moments of life is totally dependent on the person who is taking care of him. Research has shown that the first 2 years of life at a cerebral level are essential in the growth and development of an individual, where huge amounts of neuronal connections and interconnections take place. As we said previously, the child learns from an experience. This experience, as well as being related to the objects and to his curiosity, is an affective experience, and it is an experience based on the back-and-forth relationship he has with the people who are taking care of him. This relationship that the child has with the caregivers forms and structures the ways in which the child will bond with people, with things, and with the world around him throughout his life. These experiences, from a cerebral point of view, are also modeling the maturing of structural connections within the limbic cortical and subcortical areas that govern the emotions that will regulate socio-affective functions. Shaw asserts that the abusive caregiver not only plays and interacts less with the child, but he leads to a traumatic state of lasting negative effect. This carer doesn't calm the child. He doesn't provide an interactive comfort, and the intensely negative emotional states of the child last for long periods of time. Such states are also accompanied by severe alterations of the biochemistry of the immune brain, especially in the areas associated with the development of interpersonal skills. What we are seeing here is how the brain, although it has a neurological conformation, finishes forming and develops not only because of our genetic inheritance, but because of the ways in which this child comes to the world. The increase of glucocorticoids caused by the stress, which in turn is caused by the mistreatment in the immediate postnatal period, leads to the neuronal death of affective centers, creating an abnormal limbic circuit and permanent damages in the management of the emotion of the adaptive channels. These investigations were verified by Benes, Dekosky, Noneman and Cheff between 1982 and 1994. The interaction between the corticosteroids and the excitatory neurotransmitters produced by stress are the cause of programmed neuronal death and represents the primary etiological mechanism for the physiopathology of neuropsychiatric disorders. Here we have a model for an adjusted limbic morphogenesis, a structural alteration that will generate future adaptive functions. This is the context for psychopathogenesis. This is what Shaw said in 2003. What does this mean? What we're saying in this last video is that we don't have biology on one hand and psyche or psychology on the other hand. Instead, we as human beings have a brain that has a biological, hereditary basis. But we finish forming and we finish being individuals because of the relationships we have, especially during the first years of life, with the persons who are in charge of our care and the socio-economic conditions in which we grow. I invite you to watch a very interesting video about neuronal connections and brain neuroplasticity. See you in a while.